Hello, everybody. Like I said, the F1 servers have been dying, but welcome to China and welcome to qualifying here in the first Southeast Asian event of the season. We were supposed to have Hanoi, but we sort of sacked that off because nobody likes Vietnam, and we'll just say it was due to diplomatic reasons, as they did in real life. But again, today, joined in the commentary box by Sam.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Kenco Formula 1 League, and yeah, as Callum said, we are in China this week. It's going to be an interesting qualifying, quite a tricky track for them today.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the conditions that we had in Australia. Today, it's dry, so we should get some better racing than we did then. But back in Bahrain, as you do remember, the shocking performance we had of, obviously, of Casper Meech winning from the back.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Bahrain's going to definitely stick in our memory all the way through the season. What a great race it was for Casper Meech in the Alfa Romeo. But yeah, looking for some standout performances in qualifying today in China, and it is dry.
Looks like nobody's wanting to come out. We do see one of the AlphaTauris coming out. They're going to be the first to brave the conditions of this track.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, these guys are going to want to get in that benchmark lap that we talk about every single week. The AlphaTauri looking like he's going to brave it the first.
Yeah, of course, you don't want to be the first to go out, but you do want to be the first to go out. Obviously, the track gets more grippy as it goes on. Sorry, I haven't turned the game audio on. That is a technical issue from my end. Sorry, that's my end. But there we go. Game audio's on. Start of Q1. Beautiful day out here in China.
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, I was expecting a bit of wet weather, but we may be seeing some of that in the race. Sorry, I'm hearing. So that will be interesting to see.
There's often rain here at China. Sometimes it can be quite a competitive race, as you did see back in 2016 and obviously 2008 when it was wet, and Lewis Hamilton lost the championship because of the pit entry mistake.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, this track clearly makes or breaks certain championships, so maybe we'll see that in the Kenco Formula 1 League as well, and we'll have to wait and see for the race.
And it's so different because when it was first instated, it was at the start of the at the end of the calendar, whereas now it's, as we see, the third race in the calendar, so it's all the cars maybe aren't performing as good as they normally would, or some of the midfield cars haven't quite caught up to the pack.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's going to be certain cars that are more further forward with their aero package than others, but yeah, the AlphaTauri of Hartley looks like he's going to start his flying lap
already a sector 3 yellow flag, so either driver's slowing down too much. We probably will be having trying to maintain the tyre temperatures into that final corner, as the slower you go into the final corner, the better launch you can get, but Hughes taking that quite fast.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, trying to get those tyres warmed up to start his lap, so important. But obviously, these corners are very tricky, so it's easy to overheat the tyres. You're not wanting to heat the tyres up too much on your out lap.
Now, tell me, if you were this Haas here, what would your strategy be for Q1?
Well, obviously, we know Alex has immense skill in that Haas. He's been P2 in Australia, I believe. We know how much skill he has in qualifying, so I'm sure he'll be very comfortable. He knows how good he is compared to the other drivers. He's going to be taking this like a normal session.
Different helmet this week as well, completely different design. I'm pretty sure that's against FIA regulations. I think it has to be the same as always. He sets a purple sector 1, obviously Q1, so not the most impressive thing, but still quick. That helmet design though, it's the bright red with yellow stripes by the looks of things.
Yeah, obviously interesting design that he's decided to go for this week. We are seeing some nice helmets from these drivers, which is always nice to see for us watching.
Yeah, it's good because it's basically the one thing they can customize, other than their social media stuff. But
yeah, definitely.
He's going fastest in Sector 2 as well. 2 purple sectors for the young Irish lad.
Yeah, obviously going faster than the AlphaTauri than Hartley on his first lap, so it's that impressive pace we're used to seeing from Hughes.
Now, the average track time around China is about 1:30. You're on this big lock up into the last final corner there. Hughes, like we said, 1:30 is about the normal track time here for soft in the dry conditions. Forbes going P2, 1:33, 1.6 seconds, and Hughes, there we go, 1:30.3. That is the time we're expecting around here.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's a good start to the session for Hughes in the Haas, but seeing some lap times coming in from lots of drivers now with Robbie in P2 in the Renault with a 1:31.9, obviously 1.9 seconds off.
Now, the man we're watching right now, the man who almost had it all last week, Casper.
Yeah, he was so close. Obviously, Casper in the Alfa Romeo had a better tyre strategy, I would say. So that was obviously a massive advantage to the Alfa Romeo team. But yeah, Casper Knopp's so close in his Red Bull last week to getting that victory.
Now, quoting him from last week, he said, safety cars can make or break races. So, if there's a safety car this week, how do you think that will affect the final standings?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a very true statement from the Red Bull driver. Obviously, around this track, this is going to be very influential. If there is a safety car, it's going to bring the pack all together to open it up racing down the back straight and see some DRS overtakes, no doubt.
And he's also sporting a different helmet design with the almost Hawaiian style tiger stripes. So again, some more creativity here on display. Very Lando Norris-esque.
Yeah, definitely. Or maybe signifying some sort of Hawaiian relaxed theme. Potentially signifying that he's pretty relaxed. He knows what talent he has and knows what he can do in this qualifying session.
And as you said, relax, coming around that final corner, no sweat for the Red Bull driver. He knows his pace around this track. He knows that with those red-marked softs, he can definitely get himself into Q2.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we know how much pace he does have. He's going to be a real threat in qualifying, no doubt, today.
Now, walk me through one of his laps.
Obviously, turn 1, 2, and 3, a very tricky section of the track. Obviously, just trying to figure out when you want to get back onto that power, trying to avoid overheating the tyres. Going through turn 4 now. A little bit of a straight. And then this tiny little right-hander is turn 5. Braking about the 100-meter board, coming into turn 6 here. Pretty tricky corner. Not trying to lose as little time as possible. And then straight back on the power, coming up to turn 7. It's an easy left-hander, trying to stay flat all the way through, which looks like he does nicely. Obviously, turn 8, you have to brake slightly, much slower than turn 7. And turn 9, pretty much a nice degree left-hander. Turn 10, similar. Oh, as he spins.
That is a big spin there from the Red Bull driver, but no damage sustained. That is... Never mind. Casper Knopp out of the session.
Oh, no. What a shame for Casper Knopp. I was not expecting that. His lap looked very solid so far.
We were just saying how he was going to be one of the prime candidates.
Yeah, that is a real shock. Obviously, he was showing some real pace in practice. So, yeah, I'm so surprised for him to have binned it coming out of turn 10.
Now, walk me through, just take over for me whilst we go see if we can try and get a message from the Red Bull team.
Yeah, a real shock there from Casper Knopp, obviously, unfortunately, losing the back end by the looks of it. And, going straight into the wall. Not good to see. But aside from that, we've got P2, our usual suspect, Max Chapman in the Alfa Romeo with the 1:30.5, about 2 tenths down on the Haas of Alex Hughes. So maybe some early signs of some good pace from Alex Hughes there in the Haas. But yeah, that is a real shocker for me. But Joe in P3 obviously, and in the Racing Point, a fan favourite out there, just 5 tenths down from P1 currently.
Still no word from that Red Bull team. We did try and get in contact with them, but seems like... Oh, and the teammate going wide as well. I hate to say it, but Red Bull, they're not on their A game today.
No, very unexpected for me. Obviously, Red Bull's going for a very aggressive setup by the looks of it. It isn't really playing out, so yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that as another huge lock-up for the Red Bull driver of Alex Rintzer.
Yeah, that's both Red Bull drivers bottom of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm sure Casper Knopp is going to be very annoyed with his little off there. That has cost him a place in qualifying today. Yeah, not good at all.
Starting from the
Red Bull guys.
Starting from the back of the grid. Now we saw what happened from the back of the grid last week, so
that's very true. Obviously, China pretty similar to Bahrain in that there are overtaking opportunities down the back straight with the very powerful DRS. So yeah, he has the opportunity on Sunday to make it back in the race.
Another person I'm interested in, Hartley. He's only one position in front of his teammate Robinson, and he was P12 last week, so how can he improve on that? He's already one position up on that, but with one of the major competition out the game with Knopp, what do you think can happen?
Obviously, these guys seeing that Red Bull driver not crash out, they're going to be pretty wary of trying to not make that same mistake, but, obviously it's an opportunity as well for the drivers to get even further up the grid, getting that free position with him being, not finishing. So, yeah, it's going to be a good little battle between the two AlphaTauri guys. I think they've been quite close this season so far. So, yeah, it will be an interesting one to watch.
Hartley may have to back out this lap. He's already gone slower in the first sector. It's yellow, so it's not the slowest in the session, but it's also not as quick as his personal best. He just goes a little bit wide there into sector 2, coming up to the tight left-hander onto the winding right. He's gone faster for himself, but still 1 second behind Hughes. We haven't actually seen a lap from Chapman yet. A really competitive lap. Only 2/10 behind Alex.
Yeah, definitely. Chapman, obviously, we know our two-time pole sitter, our only pole sitter of the season so far. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have some more pace in the bag.
Now, with one of the Red Bulls gone, you know what that means. That's two vacant places for the Alfa Romeo. It could be the first front row lockout of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've seen how strong Chapman is in that Alfa Romeo. We have seen, obviously, Casper in the races, how strong he is. But it would be great to see an Alfa Romeo 1-2 for the guys in the Alfa Romeo team. And I do think it's possible today with the Red Bull of not out now.
Dylan puts himself P8 after going personal best in sector 3. So he's still about a second and a half behind the pace setter. But we know what Dylan can do. We know he's better than P8.
Yeah, definitely. We know he's been a great contender in qualifying past few races. So yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to get into Q2 and get some good lap times in.
That McLaren of Adam Forbes coming into that garage as well. Not many drivers out on track, but we'll go on board with Andre, who last week caused Kasper Meech in Q2 to have an off, and obviously both of the drivers had to retire, with Kasper coming P10 and Andre P11 respectively. And Andre P7 already, and what does that mean for what does that mean for Andre and the Williams team?
Yeah, well, see, we haven't seen the best of the Williams drivers, I don't feel, so far. But yeah, obviously, Andre in P7, about 1 second off P1 so far, so not too bad. But I do feel the guys behind him are obviously going to improve quite a bit, so he's still got some time to make up, I feel.
Yeah, definitely, considering he's just gone personal best in Sector 1 and only about 4/10 behind P1, so that currently would put him, unfortunately, that's just ruined his lap. He would have been P4 if he maintained that thing.
Yeah, that is a real shame. Looks like we're seeing some serious overheating of the rear tyres, causing the back end to come loose for these drivers. Obviously, we saw that in Nop, and he unfortunately went into the wall and lost his front left tyre. But yeah, I think that's one of the issues they're facing out here, of the track temperature of 29 degrees.
Yeah, currently we have every single driver position on this grid. They're all occupied. So currently we've got one league running, but in the future we may have to expand our horizons to second league, because there's a lot of young guns and new talent coming through. Obviously, if you wanted to get in touch, you can get in touch with any of us on the Discord. So we don't have exclamation mark Discord in the chat, as see the other Red Bull going off into turn 1. But yeah, if you're interested, either private message me, Derpy Callum, Kenco F1, or Wolfie in the chat, and we get another spin coming through.
No.
Yeah, those tyres, and that's going to cause that Red Bull of Rinser to back out of his lap. Those tyres are just really, really warm coming through that sector.
Yeah, obviously turn 1, 2, and 3 are obviously very tricky for these guys, just trying to determine when to get back onto the power and trying to get as little wheel spin as possible. But obviously these guys are just trying to get that balance, and so far we've seen one victim, and very close here in the Williams of Andre.
Almost a second victim. It's almost like we're playing Murder on the Orient Express there. Who's killed who? Who's gonna make it through without binning it?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I wasn't expecting this from the drivers today, but you know, it's only Q1. Still 5 minutes left in the session. Some time for some good laps to come in so far, but I'm looking for the two McLaren guys. Obviously, they said that they were struggling slightly in practice, weren't that confident they could get into Q2, but I'm wondering whether they can do it now with one of the Red Bulls out.
Just excuse me for 1 second, please, Sam.
Yeah, no worries. As we have not many drivers out on track, we have the McLaren of Josh, the Haas of Andre, as we're seeing, and the Haas, sorry, the Williams of Andre and the Haas of Tomasal, the AlphaTauri of Hartley, and the Mercedes of Ben Mitchell out on track at the moment.
Yeah,
just trying to get those laps in.
All 5 of those bottom drivers, well, now 4 drivers, because obviously Casper cannot set better time, so it's Forbes, O'Mara, Rinser and Harper all in the elimination zone. Robinson is in the danger point, and he's going to be looking to get out of that because he doesn't want another... AlphaTauri don't want another victim to Q1.
No, definitely not. He's got about a 5/10 disadvantage to his teammate at the moment, quite a big margin, but we do know how strong Hartley is, so unfortunately, that's not surprising for Robinson. It will be interesting to see whether he can get into Q2 with his teammate by the looks of it at the moment.
Yeah, and we join him on his hot lap, I believe.
Yeah, we do. Looks like he's going through turn 3 here, turn 4 now, and coming up to this pretty simple right-hander of turn 5. As I said previously, easy for these guys. Looks like there's a bit of a yellow flag coming into sector 2. Hopefully won't affect his lap too much, but he is behind the Williams of Riley Harper, so that might also be affecting his lap slightly with the dirty air.
Yeah, dirty air through sector 2 here is one of the biggest killers. We saw Andre in that dirty air. He had enough up here, and again, the sister car of the Williams going to get in the way, but he's just going to give him that space coming off. But that dirty air is going to really throw him off. Obviously, the vortices of that rear wing and the floor in the body, obviously, all of these regulation changes will be changed into 2022, but at the moment, they stay at 0, and that dirty air is really going to mess up as Jay gets stuck on those marbles coming into the inside.
Yeah. Jay doesn't look that confident out there, I don't feel. He's struggling slightly, but yeah, as you said previously, obviously dirty air is going to be not what you want on your hot lap. It's going to affect you massively, and it will heat up the tyres, which I said previously is not what you want at all on your hot lap. So yeah, he's had a bit of traffic out there, so not the best time to be out on track, I don't feel.
Unfortunately, that looks like it might be it for Jay, because 2 minutes 30 is not enough time for another out lap. I don't think he will have brought enough fuel for a second hot lap, and he's running low on ERS, so he's really got to push. He's gone personal best in Sector 3. Sector 1 and 2 is very, very slow for him, but 2 minutes left to beat that leader.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be close for him. I wonder if he will go again, but it looks like he's gone slightly wide coming into turn 2. I don't know, he's just not looking that good out there, I don't feel.
All the runners from 1 to 7 are staying in that pit, so only 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16 are out on track, trying to set a quicker lap to get themselves out of that elimination zone or keep themselves safe from elimination.
Yeah, obviously these guys are very confident. If I was sat in P13, like Robbie in the Renault and James Wilson in the Racing Point, I think I'd be going out again, because you know it's not that much of an improvement these guys have to make in the elimination zone currently to get out of Q1. So yeah, they're obviously very confident.
Especially considering all of the fans we've got in the stands today, all of the fans watching at home, all of you lovely, lovely people who've tuned in to see today's Chinese qualifying for the Grand Prix that will happen on Sunday. We're all very, very welcome to all of you from wherever you are in this world, and we hope you do enjoy our broadcast.
Yeah,
as Amara,
it's great to see our regular viewers as per usual, but yeah, great to see.
Yeah, and that's a sad one. Amara coming into the pits, that's P18 for him, mate.
That is a real shame. As I said previously, the McLaren guys said that they were struggling slightly, and Josh, unfortunately, won't be getting out of Q1 today. But you know, he's a strong racer, as we saw last week up against Hanwha.
It was almost a huge collision because of Robinson in low fuel mode. That's ruined the lap of Thomas Salomon and the lap of Archie Middlefell as well, I believe. That was that was really, really unfortunate for them too.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. If Salomon doesn't get out of Q1, that will probably be looked at by the FIA. But
I think it's more Middlefell you need to look at. He's in the elimination. Well, sorry, he's at danger.
Yeah, if he has been affected badly, and no doubt the FIA will look at that after the session and give a penalty if they feel that they need to. But yeah.
We've just had a message from Andreas Seidel at the McLaren team. Obviously, their drive is P17, P18, and they've told us that Josh, who's currently sitting in P18, that he's looking optimistic considering what happened last week with Casper Meach. He said that he can at least get to P12.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether he can stick to his squad on Sunday. It'll be interesting to see, and no doubt we'll talk to him about that after the race, whether he has made that successful prediction. But yeah, it's a shame for the McLaren guys being P17, P18. They show promise in Australia with the McLaren of Forbes.
It's Harper, the only one on track that is in that elimination zone. So if he can go better, Middlefell is out, and that means that that Robinson, who is in P16, may also get a grid penalty for the race proceeding, depending on the conditions. But Middlefell, he's gone personal best in Sector 2. In Sector 1, he's gone slower. Let's see what he can do in Sector 3 as he rounds the final corner, goes a little bit wide. That will gain him a few tenths, but maybe it'll be deleted, and Middlefell goes P10. That demotes Rinser down to P12. Hartley stays in P11, and that's pretty much the end of Q1, boys.
Yeah, that was a interesting session. Obviously, 2 McLarens eliminated in Q1, and the Renault as well, and one of the Williams. And obviously our early victim of the qualifying session, Casper Knopp.
Yeah, we'll go see if we can get a word with the Red Bull. But if we can't, then unfortunately we'll have to see if we can get that after the race. But for the moment, your eliminatees are Jay, Adam, Josh, Harper, and Casper Destruct. And also, for all of you in the chat, Vietnam was skipped for diplomatic reasons, as it was in real life. So, unluckily for Harper, that's going to be him out. Just a few seconds to go until we go into the next session of we go into the next session of Q2, and this is where drivers can publish their best times, their strategies, and we'll see how many drivers go on the orange marked medium tyre after all of the proclaimed strategists on the internet, all of you wonderful people out there. Have been telling us that the strategy here is either hard medium or medium hard, unless there's a safety car, which, as we saw, can either make or break a race. Mediums will be the bet for most. And yeah, welcome to everybody in the chat. Welcome to everybody who's joined us on this live broadcast. Welcome to everybody who has put their word down and subscribed to be a follower of the Kenco F1. It means a lot, and it means you'll be able to get notifications for every single race we do. But we will go and get ready for the start of qualifying session number 2. Sam.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Q2 in China. Obviously, we saw the Red Bull Casper Knopp obviously spin out, and unfortunately will not be getting through any more sessions in qualifying. It's a real shame, I feel, for him. Obviously, we've seen how much pace he had previously, but yeah. As well as that, the two McLaren guys, one of the Renaults. Yeah, we saw some unfortunate times from them today, and obviously won't get through into Q2.
Yeah, Meech, currently down in P11. He's not gone out just yet. Do you think he's waiting for the track to become less green and get some marbles on the track, or?
Yeah, definitely. And as we said initially, we are seeing those medium tyres being the majority of the majority tyre that people are putting on, and that's no wonder. Obviously, China renowned for its tyre wear, so yeah.
We do see Robbie Welsh. He's I'm not sure if this is a glitch on our end from the telemetry or if he's just going full out, but currently for me he's full revs, which can't be good for that engine.
No, I do believe that is not a good idea, but I think that is an issue of the game. But yeah, you would never want to be doing that down a straight. Would not be good for his Renault engine, but he is on the mediums as we expected, as well as most of the other drivers.
Haas number 21 following Haas number 23, and Haas number 21 followed by Renault number 95. So a lot of traffic here on the pit straight.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Renault is happy to be so close to that Haas in front of him. Obviously, these are the tyres they're going to be starting the race on if they get into Q3. So yeah, I'm surprised they're that close.
And 10 seconds to get to the first corner. That just shows the raw pace of these 2020 cars.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the fastest these regulation cars have ever been in 2020. So yeah, so much downforce and so much power coming from the engine.
And next year they're trying to make them even quicker with the improved aerodynamics.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, the 2022 regulations promising to be even better for racing, which will be great for us.
Yeah, the fans, for you at home, for the commentators, all of us are wanting these aerodynamic changes, which first of all sets all of the cars on a level playing field, but also secondarily it also means that the grid can be neutralized, and as a tertiary sort of minuscule thing, it means that the cars can they can race more evenly and close together.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're looking forward to those 2022 regulations, promising a lot for us fans of Formula One. But watching the onboard of the Haas driver of Solomon, looks like he's really struggling out there. I've seen him spin twice so far in his lap.
And he's had his previous lap time deleted by the stewards, which, as you see on your pop-up, it says false, because he's exceeded those track limits, which isn't going to be good for those tyres.
No, definitely not. As I said earlier, these are the tyres these guys start on if they get through to Q3, so yeah, you do not want to be spinning on them at all.
And as he rounds the final hairpin, breaking up that 100-metre board, He's going to line himself up for the best entry into the final turn. And again, we're going to go on board with Salaman as he comes into the pits. So we're not going to go on board with Salaman. As he narrowly misses the entrance there, but we'll go on board with Welsh instead, who is in Sector 1. He's gone slower than he did before, so he's currently 6/10 behind. Coming into turn 6, he's going to have the long, winding left-hander, which is very, very difficult on these tyres, especially the mediums. If you do not heat them up enough, then those tyres can really, really be detrimental to your pace.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Welsh looks like he is on his in-lap by the looks of it. Obviously setting a 1:32.3, just 6 tenths behind the House of Hughes.
Interesting to see Ian Hanmore just go P2 on those Orange Marks Orange Marks medium tyres. That is a really, really good result for him.
Yeah, definitely. Another big favourite out there of Hanmore and the Mercedes, just 5 tenths behind Hughes in the Haas, which is pretty impressive considering the pace of Hughes that he has proven. But just as I said, that Max Chapman in the Alfa Romeo P1 on those mediums, some 4 tenths faster than Hughes.
4 tenths is well, that's a lot in Formula 1, but not much in any other sport. Sorry, we're getting a few lag spikes here. I'm not sure if that's to do with the game servers. As Hanmore goes off. Oh, that's a big crash. That's a big crash from Hanmore.
Oh no! What a shame. Just as we were complimenting him on his pace.
Oh
that is
no! Oh, please just take over for me, please, just for a second there.
Yeah,
that's
that
not
is a real
good.
shame for Hanmore. Obviously, we saw Kasparov earlier in Q1 having crashed into the wall and lost his front left tyre as well, and he was out. Such a shame for Hanmore, as we were just saying how much promise he has being in P2. But yeah, that is such a shame for Ian. Doesn't look like he'll be getting to Q3 with that sort of with that car in that condition. But yeah, what a shame for him. He will not be getting to Q3 this weekend. He will be having to work so much harder in the race on Sunday.
Really interesting to see one of the front runners. We just get the team radio coming for the Mercedes garage now.
No! God damn it. I spun it on Sector 1. Yeah, I had a good time, but yeah, screwed it.
And we hear the really, really exasperated words there of Ian Hanmore, you know. He wanted to make it into Q3. We know he did. Along with his teammate, Mitchell, he's also had an off into Sector 3. He set a really good time as well.
Yeah, he did. We were just saying how well he's been performing in this qualifying session so far, but it's a real shame for Ian, obviously, now will not be getting to Q3.
And his teammate comes into the pits, and that allows Foxhall and the other Mercedes-powered engines to power ahead and show what their brand is.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we know how strong that Mercedes power plant is, but yeah, it's a real shame for one of the works Mercedes to have retired from qualifying. We don't often see that, but yeah, another victim of the China circuit.
And one person we're going to go on board with is Titan, who is currently on his outlap. We're going to put the overlays on. We're going to let you have a listen to the Ferrari power. Is often disputed, or undisputed, as the most. The Renault and the Ferrari are often undisputed as the two most beautiful sounding engines. So we'll stay silent through this entire lap. P12 currently Titan. Let's see if he can prove. So join us on one silent lap of the F2. What's the name of it? F2000? I'm not sure.
F1000, I believe.
F1000, that's the one, the F1000. So join us on board for an F1000 lap. stellar lap from Titan, putting himself P4 in the red Ferrari, 1 place above his teammate Torben Schutt with 3/10 gap. And I don't know if you saw the really little cheeky move there, getting the toe of the static, the very slow moving Middelfeld.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was very close, but also very brave of the Ferrari driver, just trying to get the edge over his teammates in every single way possible.
The toe is really powerful around this circuit as well. Chapman still P1, defending his lead against Foxhall is in P2, and Hughes behind him in P3. Titan, obviously, we just saw P4. He's followed by Schutt in the Ferrari in P5. Andre performing better than he did last week, currently in P6. Robbie Welsh P7 on his outlap, so it's definitely time for him to improve. Hartley, again, time for him to improve. He's in P8. He's not out on track at the moment, so we'll see what he can do. Obviously, not just quite safe yet. Hanmore still retaining P10, even though he's not even out track. Obviously, we saw him. For lack of better words, bin it into the wall in Sec 2. Salaman, the P3 runner's teammate, is in the pits currently. He's P9. He can't improve on his time. James Wilson, the P2 runner teammate, he's in P11. 2 seconds behind Chapman. Middelfeld in P12. He's going to want to change that. Mitchell, the DNFE. The DNFE, his teammate, he's in P13. He's on an outlap right now. Another DNFE's teammate, it was a DNF for MAX, or as the Max car that he was in. Rinser, he's in P14. Meech still yet to set a time, even though his teammate P1. I wonder what's going to happen. Middelfeld improves on his time, but cannot improve on his position.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like Casper in the Alfa Romeo is starting his flying lap now. But going back to what you were saying about Andre and the Williams, yeah, this is his first time getting out of Q1 so far in the season. So obviously we're seeing some great improvements from him, and looks like he might be getting into Q3, which would be a great result for him.
Really unusual there. Meech going P13 on one of the quicker laps that he set.
Yeah, let's hope that's not a sign for what's to come over the weekend for Meech. Obviously, we saw how strong he was in Bahrain with that commanding win last week. So yeah, hopefully he'll be able to propel himself into Q3.
Now, Bahrain is a very different track to China, but it's very similar in certain elements. Obviously, tyre wear, tyre degradation is very different, but it's also very similar in the fact that the tyre compounds are going to be the ones that you want to change. Are going to be the same ones you want to go. As you see, the rear end of the Alfa Romeo drifting out, so that might be an indication that the setup that Casper is running is more of a qualifying setup than a race setup. Obviously, you can't change the rear wing once you've gone out on track, because that's Parc Ferme regulations. Just run the viewers what through Parc Ferme means, Sam.
Obviously, Parc Ferme, a major thing in Formula 1, but also in other racing categories, basically means that once you leave the garage in qualifying, you cannot change anything on the car apart from a few stipulated things such as your tires and fuel and basic things like that. But yeah, he will not be able to change the setup now. He has started qualifying quite obviously, and if he's not happy with it, he's going to have to live with it for the rest of the weekend.
Robbie Welsh promotes himself to P5. Casper has got a better lap than he did last time. It looks like he's going to set a 1:30.1, coming to match his teammate 1:32, and just out that elimination zone. P9, that's not safe enough for Alfa Romeo, especially considering he was fighting for pole last week before he obviously met his demise with Andre in P7 currently.
Yeah, definitely. That looks like it will be its last lap as well, with it being 1 minute 50 seconds left in the session. Now, doesn't look like he'll have time to go around again and get a fresh set of tyres on.
That means the only person who's currently on an outlap that's in the elimination zone, Salomon, if he manages to beat his time, I believe Meech will still be safe because of Hanmore in P10. But if Salomon doesn't beat his time, then Hanmore's in Q3. Obviously, he can't participate because his car's dead, but he'll be in Q3.
Yeah, obviously he won't be able to participate, but it looks like every single driver, understandably, P11 to P15, either on an outlap or a flying lap, trying to get those positions in Q3. This is the other Mercedes has an off in Q3.
Has had it off in Sector 3. It's just his tyres are too warm. Rinser goes P2. That puts Meech down back into the elimination zone. That's unfortunate. I think Meech is out.
Yeah, looks like the Mercedes of Hanmore has a faster lap than him.
Oh, Andre going P1.
Wow. That's great from Andre.
That is unexpected, really unexpected. Mitchell isn't going to be able to improve on his time, but Meech is on his in-lap. There's nothing he can do now unless he decides he wants to go for another lap, but I think that's going to be it for him. Salomon, he's also on a hot lap, so let's see if he can improve. That might push Meech down to P12. Obviously, Mitchell, he'll be also on an in-lap because of his rear tyres. We saw coming through Sector 3, his rear tyres were, let's just say, hotter than the sun. Middelfelt also into the pits. Wilson looks like he's on an in lap or perhaps an out lap with going 8 seconds down on his delta, but that looks like it's going to be your elimination with Meech, Salaman, Mitchell, Middelfelt, and Wilson. But we'll just go on board. We'll go on board with the current provisional pole runner. Obviously, it's not Q3, but Andre, 4 tenths in front of Chapman. Obviously, Andre's gone on those softs, so that's a completely different strategy. But
yeah, that was one thing I was going to say. The Andre in the Williams, obviously going P1 with that impressive time, but he is on the soft tyres. So come the race on Sunday, he's going to be at a big disadvantage in the long run, I feel.
well, we saw Titan on those red mark soft tyres before last week. As he has a big spin into sector 3 as he resets the track, which probably isn't the smartest idea from the driver because that's what caused the crash last week. But Rinter securing himself in Q3. Meech isn't going to be able to set a better time. Salaman goes P1, which pushes Hartley into the elimination zone, and currently that means Hartley is out.
Shame for the AlphaTauri driver. So we saw his pace in Q1 and also Q2, but just not quite enough at the end of Q2. But yeah, we're seeing a surprising amount of soft runners in the top 10, and I really don't think that's the right strategy. But you know, these drivers and these teams have been working all week and all weekend to get the right strategy for the race on Sunday.
There's definitely a Ferrari strategy going on here. They're both outside each other, both with the red mark soft tyres. Torben Schutt going only four hundredths slower than Solomon, so he's gonna definitely want to get into Q3. I think he's positioned safe, so he could probably go into the pits right now. As none of the elimination zone participants, they're not able to get out for another lap, but he does try and set the lap, so unfortunately for him that means that he's going to set a lap, but he's not going to go quicker, so that might mean that he stays on those mediums, and his teammate also does the same thing. They're going to want to retain that medium strategy, but for us from Q2, that's it.
Yeah, another interesting session, obviously, with a lot of soft runners, with that being in P1, P2, and P4 currently. I'm surprised they would set their fastest lap on the soft tyre, because that's what they're going to have to start on, and that is not the best tyre for the race on Sunday.
Yeah, P1, P2, and P4, you said. So that's Rinser, Thomas Salomon, and a Vatsim Pro of Andre, the Haas, Williams, and Red Bull, respectively. I think Rinser was just wanting to get into Q3 after, obviously, his teammate. The person who was the main breadwinner for the team is obviously down in last place. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the start of qualifying 3. Obviously, pre-recorded, or well, I say pre-recorded, recorded because of technical issues in the previous session. So you join us today with Sam in the commentary box and myself, Cal McGrath, Derp Callum, and Sam Wolfie in the chat. Do go give him a follow for obviously all the hard work he does. But we'll get out on track in just a second as the drivers go out for a wet qualifying 3 session.
Yeah, welcome back everyone. In the form of YouTube, obviously, we start as we left off. The track is currently starting to get wet due to the rain that we are seeing in China that we were expecting.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of the way we've had to do it, the graphic is slightly wrong. We don't have any drivers below P10, so the top 10 is correct. We have Foxhall, Titan, Salomon, Chapman. Hamor did not make it. Well, he made it into Q3, but his car was destroyed, so he can't set a time. But we've also got Hughes, Shutters and Charlie, Andre Abreu, and Rinser, as well as Robbie Welsh, obviously, Danny Ricciardo, Norris, Raikkonen, Gasly, Stroll, Albon, Kvyat, Hamilton, Sainz, and Russell are not in the session, but they show up purely because there isn't they're placemakers, but there's nothing we can do about that, obviously, because of the glitch lobby and the way that we've done it. But today you're joining us. It's slightly wet, so you know, nothing we haven't seen before here at China.
Yeah, definitely. Also, we're used to seeing that in China, but these guys are gonna try and get their a fast lap on softs. Obviously, it's much faster than going on either the intermediate or the wet tyre. They're going to try their best to try and get a good lap in on these soft tyres just before the rain gets a bit too much.
Now, we did see in Q2 Joel setting some pretty quick times on the softs, but how's that going to change? Obviously, we've got standing waters now starting to gather on that track, and that means that it might be inters, maybe even full wet weather soon.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like the Ferrari of Torben Schutt has gone on to the inters straight away, so he might have to make good out of that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we did just see Joel Foxhole going incredibly wide at the final corner. Maybe that was because of a lack of grip, or... Oh, and Grizzler Titan has already retired from the session. That puts him P9, and Joel losing it through the turn 2. Oh, he just keeps up the power, and he managed to save it. But Titan already out, Hammore already out, and them two already out of the session. For I wonder what happened there, Sam.
Yeah, apologies. I'm not too sure what happened to Titan, but that is another victim we've seen in China. And looks like he potentially might have had a crash that's caused him to have to retire from the session. But yeah, we have seen that quite a lot today in qualifying throughout the various sessions. But yeah, another driver's having to retire.
Really, really greasy for these tyres, for these soft tyres. You see everyone except Charlie running those, running the red mark softs. So maybe that's an indication from obviously Titan being on the softs and the slicks maybe not being able to get enough grip. Joel locking up into the tight left-hander there before the flat-out corner. He gets onto the marbles. He's gonna get stuck out wide. Once you're on those marbles, you can't get back into the inside unless you release off that power immediately. But
yeah,
Joel will go P1, but I would consider coming into the pits if I was him.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like he's struggling out there. Out of the soft runners, looks like Chapman in the Alfa Romeo is making the most out of the current conditions on those soft tyres. But interestingly enough, P7 Torben Schutt in the Ferrari on those inters, the only guy on the inters at the moment, has gone fastest in sector 2 with a 32.4. So
Again,
that's obviously showing us that potentially the Inter is the best tyre to be on at the moment.
And Foxhole trying to set a good lap rather than going on those inters. I'm not too sure about that, but like you said, who is it? P5 Torben Schutt. He's going to want to set a good lap as well. He goes fastest in the middle sector, which is quite good for obviously a Ferrari. Never mind one that's testing out new waters and 2.5 seconds quicker already.
Yeah, that just shows that the softs is just too far gone for these soft tyres now. The Inter is the best tyre to be on, and Torben Schutt in that Ferrari is proving that with going P1 2.5 seconds faster than anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. Considering that in the last session he was like P5, I think. So yeah, it's really interesting to see the different tyre strategies. Obviously, if it is a wet race, we don't know whether it will be a wet race. Obviously, the forecast here at China is not always accurate, but if it's a wet race, then we may see him come out and prevail.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, if we cast our mind back to Australia, we did have that wet qualifying session for some of it, and we saw the skill of certain drivers in the wet, so we might see that coming out again and potentially influencing their lap times and how good they are.
Yeah, it's really interesting because one of the drivers we were looking forward to seeing the most of today was Casper. He went out in Q1. So what does that mean for all of the drivers?
Yeah, obviously that unfortunate crash for the Red Bull driver at the start of the qualifying was not good, but obviously for the other driver it's just an advantage because it's essentially a free space to propel yourself up into other qualifying sessions. So obviously the other drivers will be happy to see that.
Especially with these wet conditions that are now getting worse and worse, it means that drivers are going to have to be more cautious as we see Foxhole rounding the final corner on his in-lap. Obviously, just no grip on those red mark softs.
No, and it's not surprising if you look at the track. There's a huge increase of standing water compared to the start of the session. So yeah, the Inter is the best tyre to be on, proven by Torben Schutt in the Ferrari, and obviously he's going to have a huge advantage of already setting that his first lap on the Inter. The other guys, there's a bit more pressure on them now.
And we're on board with Welsh. He's currently on an out lap. We'll go on board for his hot lap. He's one of the only one of 3 to go currently onto those intermediate tyres. Obviously, is definitely the choice.
Yeah, as we said, that Ferrari in P1 obviously has now set his time on the Inter, so it is the best tyre to be on. It will be interesting now to see what the other guys can do on those Inters and whether they can challenge the Ferrari currently in P1, and no doubt we will see that.
Okay, so if you just want to run us through what you would do if you were the Renault and just take over for a few moments.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, looks like the Renault driver is currently on his out lap, so he's going to be warming up those tyres, which is quite easy to do considering the wet conditions. Obviously, the rear tyres are more susceptible to wheel spin, so the rear tyres are going to be warming up nicely as he does round the turn 13 to come onto the final straight. And he does go a bit wide. That's obviously not going to be good for the tyres. He's going to want them in prime condition going around his flying lap that we will expect to see. shortly, as he does round turn 14 now. The tricky hairpin is quite tricky to get right. But as we come up to the final corner now, turn 16, he will start his flying lap.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to go on with Robbie.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've seen some potential in Robbie in the Renault with him previously qualifying P10 in Australia, and yeah, so we'll be interested to see what he can do in the wet conditions.
I'm going to have to stop you right there, Sam, because we have got a team radio coming from the Racing Point team about the condition of these dry tyres.
These conditions are just too wet. I can't do anything on these softs.
Yeah, we hear there that the softs, they're undrivable. We hear from Joel in the Racing Point. He's definitely time to go onto the inter tyres.
Yeah, most definitely. Very well put from the Racing Point driver. It was just they're not the right tyre to be on, and the inter guys, the guys that are running the inters are going so much faster.
Yeah, the people who have set the first laps are actually quicker than the ones setting at the moment. So is it getting to the point where it's the crossover between the inters and the wets? But mark my words, Robbie Welsh, second person to come out on the inter tyre. He's just set a personal best sector 1 and a fastest sector 2, but he just gets stuck on those marbles out wide. He's going to take the inside line. There's 3.5 minutes left in qualifying. Can Chapman set a better lap? Can Foxhall set a better lap? Can Hughes set a better lap? We know these drivers can do better. Andre Abreu, Welsh, we're still waiting for them to beat the two drivers who are in front of them. They will be out of this session. They will be P9 and P10 if they do not improve. But Welsh rounds the the final hairpin as he comes towards the very final turn, towards the pit straight, and we'll see what he does. Rounds the final corner. Robbie Welsh onto the final straight. And Welsh, P2 by about 0.6 of a second, but those inters definitely quicker.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, 0.6 down on the Ferrari in P1 currently. Not the best lap, but that was his first run on the inters. He might have just enough time to go again, but probably won't have enough time to get a new set of tyres, so that might be his final run.
Chapman on his hot lap currently goes 1/10 quicker than Schutt in the first sector. Into the in the first sector. But he's set a slower sector, but set a fastest sector 2. That's 9/10 up on Schutt. The grip out here is just getting better and better.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the track wearing in, and the dry racing line, you can start to see it forming coming through turn 13 here. But yeah, that pace of Max in the Alfa Romeo that we know very well coming through. Obviously, 9/10 up currently.
9/10 up coming into one of the final corners. The drivers will now be making their way onto their final lap. We see P7 and P8 obviously now trying to get on there. Andre goes P2 with a 1:44.79. That's going to be interesting to see what he does. Chapman rounds the final corner onto the pit straight, and Chapman once again, let's see if he can do it. Chapman is on provisional pole. There's no shock there, is there?
No, definitely not. Obviously, we're used to seeing that site. Max in P1 currently provisional pole, as you said, about 1/10 faster than Torben Schutt in the Ferrari.
That is that's raw pace, especially in the wet. The drivers are set apart 1-to-1.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the wet conditions does reveal the true pace of these drivers. And again, Max P1. It's just expected nowadays.
Welsh P2 as well. He's gone 26 quicker than it. 26.7. Sorry, my goodness. 27 seconds quicker than his previous lap. That puts him P2 about 3/10 or 3.5 behind Chapman. Hughes goes P3. That's slightly slower than Welsh. 4/10 into that with 1 minute remaining. We just see the drivers who are going to go for their hot laps, and we'll see what they can do. Hughes, obviously, again, good driver, but hasn't really proved himself. Andre, 1/10 slower than Chapman. That would put him P2 currently. Joel going P2. That puts him in a really, really strong position for this race. That's really good from him. We heard him say that the inters were the best bet, and he's showing that. But we will go on board with Abreu as he rounds on the final corner. Still 2/10 behind Chapman. He rounds the final corner. He comes onto that pit straight. Let's see if he can improve on his time. He's currently P6 with 1 second behind Chapman, and he cannot improve, unfortunately. 5/10 down on Chapman. That still makes him stay in P6. So it's just now for P5 from Rin. So that's a really, really good lap from him. Obviously, his teammate down in P20, so he's going to bring the points through this week.
Yeah. Just a
Salomon.
shout out to the Williams driver of Abreu. Obviously, first time in Q3, and he's done pretty well.
And Chapman setting another provisional pole lap. He's on P1. Unless he can be dethroned by Foxhall, Welsh, Schutz, or but Schutt's gone for some spins, I reckon. Has he gone for some donuts? Doesn't look like Foxhall's going to be challenging him. With Welsh goes quicker in the first sector, but I don't know whether he'll be able to challenge that. The only person I'm really got my eyes on is Hughes, who's currently 0.05 of a second behind him. He rounds the final corner. Welsh is stuck in P3. There's no time he can, no way he can improve his time now. He is stuck in P3. Q3 has ended. Alex rounds the final corner, and Alex P3. He can't improve. That's going to be a really strong position for Joel if he can't be dethroned by Charlie, Rinser, or Abreu. Charlie isn't going to be able to beat him. I don't think Rinser is either, and it looks like Abreu may be the only person to dethrone him if he can. He's only 1/10 down.
Going to be close.
Number 62, very close to 63 of George Russell, who used to drive for Williams. He rounds the hairpin coming onto the final turn. Before the final turn, just whip it in nice and tight. It's going to be really impressive if he can set a pole lap here. And he comes and he crosses the line. Andre on P2. That demotes Foxhall to P3. So there you have it, folks. That is your that is your grid lineup by the looks of things, unless Charlie can dethrone Joel. Joel's in the pits. It's Chapman from Andre, from Joel, from Alex. They're followed by Robbie and Charlie, then Rinser and Salomon. And what a qualifying that was. And pole lap from Max Chapman again, not able to be dethroned.
No. Great lap from Chapman, obviously 5/10 faster than the Williams of Abreu. 3 purple sectors, yeah, another stellar session for him in the Alfa Romeo.
Absolutely solid stuff from every single one of those drivers on the grid, and the slightly wet conditions as well. We said it in Q1 that it could happen, and mark our words, because it happened.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, great qualifying, and a familiar face in P1, obviously, with Max in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and we'll go and try and get some. Words from some of the drivers currently, but that is your order, boys, because that's the end of qualifying. So Max on pole, and on the second row with him, that's in pro Andre, and I hate to say it, but this is going to be an interesting race. And we're joined by Andre. Andre.
We're joined by the pole sitter.
I think Andre may have just fallen through there. Sorry, folks. We had connections with the Williams team, but that didn't just quite fall through. At the moment, we're joined by the pole sitter. I mean, I think we're like a broken record here, Sam. Pole sitter Max Chapman.
Max, are you there?
Yeah, comms have gone, I believe.
He must be just too excited to be able to talk to us right now.
He's refraining from the radio because of how many swear words he would have said.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
Now? Yeah, it just lagged out for me. Right. Hello.
Hello, Max.
Hello.
What?
Thank you.
What an amazing race. Or, sorry, what an amazing qualifying session.
Yeah, it was great fun at the end. I didn't really want it to rain, but it was great fun in the end, and I really enjoyed that lap.
Now, not to underestimate any of the drivers on the grid, but were you anticipating the Williams to be as close to you? 3/10 off they were in the end.
No, to be honest, I thought after my lap that I did, I thought I had it under control. And then I just didn't really know what was going to happen. Wet weather conditions, to be honest, anything can happen.
And with all of the drivers currently in Q3, I think every one of them set a lap on mediums except for the Ferraris and Rinser, I believe. So how is that going to affect your final strategy?
It will. It won't. I don't. I think it will affect them more than me because they will have to pit twice. Because if they're starting on the soft run out very very quickly, and it's better for me because I can run longer. And if there's a safety car, um, I will be still in the same tires and have gain track position over them.
What does it mean for your opponents then? Obviously, like I said, Williams in P2, is that someone you need to look out for? He's starting on the softs.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know his race pace, so he could be a big threat tomorrow.
And that's that is it's good to hear that some other drivers are obviously challenging for that, but no front row lockout today for the Alfa Romeo squad. I thought that's what we should be looking for this week, but was your teammate just not on it, or do you have a certain strategy in mind?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think he's a bit disappointed that he didn't get through, but
It's a good place to
yeah,
start considering where he started last week and what position he finished.
yeah. This strategy will help him out a lot because he's starting on the mediums, so and it should go longer than all of the soft runners, so it will help him out massively.
And just one final thing, a few words of advice to anybody who, obviously, you're quickest on the grid. You've shown that 3 weeks in a row. Any words of advice to anyone who aspires to be like yourself?
Uh, just, I mean, practice, practice, and practice. That's all I really can say.
And
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much. And that's your pole sitter, ladies and gentlemen. Number Max Chapman, number 22. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And that is our pole sitter. We'll go ahead and try and get a word with the person who managed to pull it through. The person who doesn't normally qualify that high, but we're gonna have a word with Andre, who managed to clinch P2.
Hello.
Hello. Andre, we spoke to you earlier, but what does that mean for your race strategy today? Obviously, your race strategy on Sunday, because you're P2, and that puts you in a really good position.
I'm not sure if it could be wet race. No one's really sure. If it's wet race and everyone has a free tire choice in the strategy between qualifying, no, the tires you choose for Q2 it doesn't really matter because everyone's gonna have a free choice. If it's dry, I'm gonna need to start practicing with those softs and see what can I do against the AI.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think to your competition? Obviously, managing to outqualify Alex Hughes, who's been close to max this entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty lucky with that one. I got to the right point where, obviously, it once in the qualifying, it was kind of soft, maybe almost intermediate. Then when I done the lap, I was one of the last ones to do the lap, and yeah, it was almost like absolute intermediates, almost for these conditions. Only obviously. It wasn't, but yeah, I'm really happy with that. I wasn't expecting that by any way.
We've had some messages that some of the people who were listening to your team radio said that you were screaming with happiness.
Oh, yes, I was. Oh, yes, I was.
Are you proud of your lap?
Oh, yeah, very much proud. I don't even know what the hell did I do. I wasn't even expecting getting close to top 5, but obviously, how the hell did I? I'm actually wondering now. How the hell did they even hear me?
Yeah, well, we've got people listening to you. We've got people listening to you. That sounds really weird, but we have got people listening to you, obviously, from the FA. Sam, have you got anything to add?
No, just a great performance from Andre today. Do you think you'll be able to sustain this level of performance in qualifying and potentially get into future Q3s?
I'm not sure. I really hope. Just confirm you said qualifying there or the race.
Qualifying. Obviously, this is the first time you got out of Q2 so far in the season, so
Yeah, I do really hope. Obviously, on the dry, probably Alex, Hughes, and everyone will probably outqualify me. But until now, I've been doing some very bad qualifying strategy options, so that's probably why I have not been going out of Q2. As you've been seeing on the race, I've been going from soft to mediums to softs. On Australia, I was an intermediates for a dry track, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And final one from me. Do you think you can convert this into a win?
I don't know. It depends. If Max has a battle race, then maybe. But I maybe a podium at the Max because Alex Hughes is also right there. If I have a bad start, then that's it for me.
All right. Thank you very much.
And
Thank
yeah, good luck for the race.
Thank you. See ya.
And from the Skypad, that's all for today, folks. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for bearing with us whilst we got the technical issues sorted between Q2 and Q3. And your grid will be published at the end of this. And what an amazing qualifying session that was, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. The rain really makes things up. But yeah, we got an unusual P2 with Andre in the Williams. Great to see.
Yeah, and from us in the Skypad and from Sam, thank you very, very much. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye, folks.